Yes, yes, I know you're grumpy with me. It's not my fault. No, you piled up all the sand and blocked off filter intake. Yeah, that's not my fault you did that, is it? Hey, daft creatures. Should we see if we can get this stream going, shall we? Hey, yeah, what do you reckon? Hmm? Yeah. Sunday shop to do 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 do. All right, that meet your approval. Sunday shop to do 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 do. Sunday shop to do 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 do. Arr. Hello, 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 hello. Greeting, salutation. All the other ones. Greg, how you doing? That's about as close as I can get to copying the second emoji. I can do the first one. How's people's week been? Mine has been mostly chaos and carnage. But other than that, Derek, bloody hell, long time no see. Jeez, coming out of the woodwork tonight. Oh, yeah, it's and Hendlerino, greeting. So yeah, week of chaos and carnage at work, having done 8 days out of 9. Really nice, not. Um, and then I've been off since Friday, so catch up on chores and finally have a bit of a chill and unblock the toilet again. Oh well, a general week. It's the usual issue of colleagues not pulling their fingers out, management doing stuff that doesn't need to be done at all. Yeah, it's been one, but hey, it's over. I've got Monday and Tuesday off as well, so yay! Water changes Monday or tomorrow on everything. At least it's slightly above freezing now as well, so that's always a good thing. Mm, yes, I'm so out of the picture with who's been about, who hasn't been about, what's going on fish fan wise. Maybe I should have made that a New Year's resolution. But hey, same stuff, different year here. So nothing too new or shiny. Uh, there is one sad piece of news this week. This has just been working. Yeah, I know the feeling. Missy Cara, the female Nanakara Anomala, is no more. Um, she bit the bucket this week. So another tank I've got to figure out what the heck to do with. Well, that's a little more complicated because I can't just put Mr. Cara somewhere random. Because as much as he's as shrimp friendly as a cichlid ever gets, uh, he can't go in there. because the linear will kill him, for want of a better word. They will retire him from life. And yes, just live bearers, just aggressive live bearers. Let's put it that way. I could put him in with Fred and Rose, the Super Reds, but then I can't do anything else with that tank, really. I don't know. I'll figure something out. She was a lovely little fishy. Even if she never quite got the hang of not eating her own babies. Don't think she was particularly smart. There's a few times she had free swimmers, and then they would all disappear. So yeah, I think start of this year is going to be restocking, moving stuffs about, figuring out what I want, if I can get them. Although now I've got that tank down, so it is quite a low pH, lower than the rest anyway. I might give some Apistos another go. I've done okay with them in the past. The problem is just finding them lately. Generally, the only times I see Apistos, I see a tank with maybe 2 or 3 females in and no males. Or they're absolutely tiny. I mean, tiny. I'm talking Ember Tetra tiny size. Well, length anyway. Yeah. I'll figure something out. I'll be in a fish store and go, ooh, shiny, me likey. Ooh, decent price as well. That's the other thing. What else to do? Oh yeah, and I had a bit of a trim up of a couple of Anubiuses, as you might be able to tell behind me. We have trimming, bit of trimming, more trimming. How you doing, Sammy? Yeah, exactly. Does it pass the shiny test? You get the shiny test and you go, ooh, shiny. And if you then go, actually, I'm not entirely sure what that fish is like, what it needs, you then get Alphono out and ask Uncle Google. And Uncle Google will give you, maybe not at a quick search, the best information, but it'll tell you the basics. You put the name in and you go, yeah, that looks like that fish. Just make sure you've got the same one, which is why I always like to use the scientific name, because let's be honest, different fish get called different things as common names all over, not just the world, in all over the country. Bristlenose pleco, right? Fairly obvious and simple one, or just plec. Well, I've heard them called what? The bearded algae eater, the cleanup fish, the cleaner. I'm like, you hear people go, oh, I need one of those fish that cleans the aquarium. There is no such fish. Spent 90 bucks at the dispensary, got 4 grams of cured resin and an eighth of flour. You're going to have an interesting couple of days then, Sam. Or day, depends on how heavy you hit it. Whereas I spent £40, which is probably 50 or 60 bucks, and got 2 pouches of tobacco. 2 small pouches of tobacco. Howdy, Happy, how you doing? And we're out already. Yeah, I'm all right. It's just every other bugger. That's the general reply to that question. Nobody really wants to know. Yeah, I'm all right. Just everyone else. Gee, how you doing, you crazy Belgian? Happy New Year to you too, sir. How is it down in the Beneluxian area of Europe? And are you still building Phantoms? That's the question. Well, which I mean the F4 Phantom, not the woo kind. How to confuse the fishy people when the modelly people turn up. Okay, and slow on the building. Well, you're probably building quicker than me because I haven't built anything proper for a long time now. Now, I read it, Sam. Don't worry about it. I mean, I'd probably rather actually 2 years. I think I might be more recent than 2 years, but not a lot. It's definitely been a while. I mean, I've made a couple of Gundam in the time, the Bandai stuff, but that doesn't count. Let's just clip it, sand it, click it together. No actual modelling involved, is there? Let's be honest. Yeah. So I hope you and everyone in California is safe, Sam. What with the 3D printing now. I'm not going to ask what you're 3D printing because I've heard about those Belgian museums. They're as bad as the Dutch ones. I can just imagine you printing out a little 3D model of the mannequin Happy. Yeah, also hopefully everyone in California is marked safe from Donald Trump. Let's see what we. A bit like the old resin Rosie that I purchased and painted that I then couldn't show anywhere. When you go on the scale modelling site and it has an 18 plus section, these days I want to just go on Etsy because you can basically buy 3D prints of all the stuff anyway. Devastation. How will the multimillionaires ever rebuild? Well, the multimillionaires aren't worried about it because they've all gone to Mar-a-Lago to play golf, from what I saw. So long as the important people are safe, let's put it that way. Yeah, and why are you not surprised that I clicked on the 18 plus section of the resin figures website from South Korea? And then waited a couple of months for it to turn up. Got sympathy, but it's hard to find empathy. Yeah, exactly. And it is sad that people have lost their homes or their livelihoods, and some have lost their lives. But when you're talking about the mega rich, you could just go out and buy another house tomorrow. Empathy just doesn't exist. Exactly, Guy. If you're something 18 plus and I didn't click it, people would be worried. I mean, heck, I didn't buy it. I was just randomly trawling through internets, and I found a 3D print of a T-Rex with huge bazongas wearing a bikini. Now, I do get the kind of humor of it, but the intricate way in which it was modeled and designed, that wasn't for the humor of it. Because if you were just making a crass bad joke, yeah. So there's someone out there, and it's sold several. So there are people out there who are aroused by the thought of a busty T-Rex. I mean, nah, no, thank you. And people say I should be on some kind of list. At least I just like busty redheads. And yes, Guy, I do smoke get it in the light. Smoke a pipe these days. Well, I do say for every phobia there is a fetish. An equal. Not in the same amounts. Yeah, I am getting old. Yeah, I'm getting scarily close to 50 now. Pop that down. Stay. But it's funny, you can be smoking a pipe outside and people don't walk past you going, like if they're smoking a cigarette or someone's got a vape. You can go, and you don't get that. You're smoking. Whether it's people don't actually realise what a pipe is anymore. Just turned 32. I've got T-shirts older than you, Derek. Hell, I've got modelling supplies older than you. A lot of my favourite albums came out when you were either just born or were a toddler. I mean, I reckon Guy's probably got jumpers that are as old as I am. So there is that. Be 40. A young pup. You're a cub. Even records. Of course, I've got t-shirts that are over 32 years old. I think the oldest one I've got is I've got a 1991 FA Cup final shirt. Not a t-shirt, it's a football shirt, jersey, whatever you want to call it. Tottenham Hotspur. But yeah, I've still got like my original Pearl Jam Jeremy t-shirt from '92. I've definitely got shoes that are older as well. Maybe. Don't know. Look at my motorbike boots. Yeah, my motorbike boots are 31 years old. I hate to think how much they'd cost these days. Yeah, exactly. The year you were born, Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains and Soundgarden, Nirvana. That was the music of the time. When I was born, it was punk, the Sex Pistols, the Buzzcocks. I remember all of the 80s. I don't remember the 90s. I was around in the 70s. He's got a wife that's older than me. Well, not a wife, but my missus is older than me, Guy. And I make sure I wind her up about me being a toy boy and me having an older woman, even if it is only 6 months. You got to have a laugh. Exactly. If you can't have fun and a bit of a laugh, what's the point? 70s, 80s must have been wild. Yeah, it was. Basically, if you watch any of these sort of Gen X videos on YouTube, because there are plenty of sort of millennials reacting to Gen X kind of stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was like. Especially summer holidays. We got up, same time as we'd normally get up for school, have a breakfast, leave the house, maybe come back for lunch, then go out, come back for tea, go out, and then come back at when it was starting to get dark. Where I lived, there weren't any street lights, so it wasn't a case of come home before the street lights come on. It was come home before it gets dark. And nobody knew where we were at all day. And you had to remember what you'd done because you'd probably get grilled about it when you got home. Or you'd have to do your chores. You'd have to mow the grass and weed the flower beds and polish the brass. No, that's not a euphemism. Wash the car. Exactly. Get out. Get out from under my feet. Bugger off. Give me some peace and quiet. Even if it was cold or wet, then they wonder why we came home smelling of fire and smoke. So, yeah, it's like snowing out, so we had a campfire in our den, we'll call it, hut, base, shelter. Generally in the woods or down by the river somewhere. Yeah, it's freezing cold, so you go and get in your den or your shelter, you and your mates and or your friends, whatever, and have them on the parking lot. And yeah, you just sit there and try and keep warm until you can go home for lunch. We didn't have like super warm clothing. We just wore trousers and a jumper or a sweater and some kind of coat over the top of it. There was no thermal stuff. Woolen gloves that if they got wet, that was it. Yeah, mostly we got warm from running away. Yeah. But there comes a time when it's too cold to even play football. First time someone falls over and hurts themselves when they hit the ground, you know the ground's too hard to play. Exactly. We're a lot hardier. We made it through. No, plenty of scars and bumps and bruises and scrapes and whatever. We got stories, experience. We know how to climb a tree. We know how to fall out of a tree. We know how to jump over a fence. Which plants not go anywhere near and which ones are fine. We knew that water was still cold in the middle of summer. You'd go for a paddle in the stream to catch some fish. If you're lucky, you had a little net. If not, you were using your hands, which made life even more interesting. And even though it would be baking hot, 30 degrees, you didn't have suntan lotion. We learned. I say we learned. Some of us did it on purpose. Mostly to stitch up our friends. No sunscreen or anything. Just out in shorts and t-shirt all day in the middle of summer. Yeah, we survived. As I say, a few bumps, bruises, scrapes. Yeah, summer of '76, the summer I was born. You'd think I'd like hot weather. I don't. Right, and if you're wondering where, that's what happens when you don't pay attention and you accidentally knock the ash out or the hot ash and tobacco out of your pipe onto your arm. It's not good. School of hard knocks and a school of hard rocks. Yes, you may have noticed the hair is long again. I gave up on the short hair because the haircuts were costing too much. Yeah. I washed it yesterday. It's doing weird stuff today. Hence why I've got the baseball cap on. I mean, obviously, I can't really comment on how it is in or how it was in the States because I wasn't there. But It's definitely changed in the UK. Good evening, Mark. Or good morning, I should say, as well as good day. The Baron of Barrows and the lovely Delhi. Hello, how are you, my darling? Hope you're feeling a bit more this week. So the way you two joined at the same time, people will start asking questions. That always just strikes me as so northern England. Haycock. uh, Take your time. Don't rush anything. Nobody likes a funeral. Not even funeral directors, and I know some. And that somber, respectful. That's not just them doing their job. They're like that all the time. Trying to get a funeral director to lighten up is not easy. The polar opposite of people who work in mortuaries and morgues. They've got the darkest senses of humour on the planet, I swear. Yeah. Well, you can rest assured that you're doing the right thing and the nice thing. Yeah, it's all right, understandable. I completely get it. Trying to think if I've been. No, I've not actually been on Facebook this week. So, or this month, this year. A hell of a party, yearly funeral. Oh, gold. Oh, the funeral director's Christmas party. Oh, that'd actually probably be a Christmas party I'd actually enjoy. Yeah, but you know you're doing what you can, Adele. He knows you're doing what you can. So just bear that in mind. Keep that front and center. You're doing what you can, and he knows you're doing what you can. Bit stiff. Oh dear. Oh, a bit stiff and dry. Oh dear. I'm sure there was a comedy series set in a funeral directors at one point. It might have only run for a season before it was basically, yeah, this is too dark. We'd better get rid of it. Can't remember what it was called. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was called. Yeah, it's something that I've no doubt there's plenty of hilarious things goes on, and there is so much scope for comedy, but it's something people aren't happy to laugh at as such. I mean, you know me, I'll laugh at anything that I find funny. I operate on the South Park principle. before South Park existed. Everything's fair game. Everything and everyone. Equal opportunity hatred. That's the way I look at it. Going through my drink very quickly today. What are you doing? Yes, I know you're upset because I moved all the sand. Yes, because you blocked the filter intake. Doo doo, doo doo, doo doo, doo doo. Life's a bitter when you look at it. That's about as much of that song as I can sing without getting hit by a copyright strike. Oh, YouTube's decided there's nobody here. Oh, one person. Yeah, it's I can imagine. Probably best to steer clear of stuff like Alice in Chains at the moment. Yeah, it is. I mean, I could quote Cemetery Gates by the Smiths, but probably not for the best. Well, no, it's probably better if I was to start singing Smiths songs than Pantera's Cemetery Gates. Yes, all credit to Monty Python. Quote is okay as long as you don't sing it. Yeah, but I can't sing Gee. The amount of times I do sing in this stream and nothing gets pulled up for copyright, it must just be that the bot or the algorithm can't recognize it as a song. Pardon me. Or we just don't do it long enough to trigger anything. Yeah, I don't push my luck. It's bad enough having to do the US and the Republic of Ireland tax returns last December. Again, don't have to start dealing with copyright strikes and claims and all that rubbish. There was a video I did film, something about the fish. It was a time lapse of bristlenose plecos hatching in there. And because I didn't fancy just sitting around not doing anything for however long it was going to take, I stuck something on YouTube on the TV just around the corner. Yeah, it was on quiet. Obviously, the camera picked it up in the background, and when I tried uploading it, it instantly pulled a copyright on it. I was like, okay, fair enough. It was like half an hour video. Copyright for a song I haven't even played yet. Sent back, I don't care. Yeah. Exactly. I would think the artist would probably not have any issue with it whatsoever. But it's not the artist that pull the copyright claims. It's the publishers. They're lined up to premiere on the day. Yeah, it does say it's not the artists that do it, it is the publishers. The artists, they want people to see their work. Right? Because let's say you've got a reaction channel and you enjoy the reactor. Exactly. You just try on your dad not make money off of it. Yeah, bean counters. They don't see that someone reacting to that song or that artist's work will draw more people in to listen to that artist. It's a guarantee. Yeah, it's free advertising. Yeah, exactly. But it comes under you're using copyrighted material. Yeah. And okay, so the creator or the YouTube creator will make money off the video. Fair enough. So they're making money off of other people's work, which I see the reasoning. But rather than, I don't know, have the publishing company take all the money from that video, why not split it 50-50? Put it on TikTok to promote it, but don't you dare use it in your video. I've had adverts on YouTube where it's literally someone's new song and they played the whole song as the advert. And earlier today there was a new one from Avantasia. Yeah, that's exactly. Split the money from the video 50-50, half to the artist or publisher or whatever, and half to the creator. That's fair. As long as it's not one of those channels where the person goes, "Hi, it's me, blah, 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 blah. Here's all my links to all my ways I make money. Here's how you can give me all your money. Here's my merch store. Here's this, here's that. Here's the song I'm going to react to." Yeah, that's cool. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Add something, add value. You notice, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The reactors that add value because they have knowledge and insight into the creative process or what's being done and how it's being done, they don't get their videos blocked or copyright struck. In fact, they actually get to interview some of the artists. Yeah. Don't forget to hit the subscribe. No, I haven't seen anything yet. You've just annoyed me so far. But then YouTube prefer you to put it at the start of the video because most people don't watch to the end of the video. I mean, generally, if I look at my analytics, which I don't do very often because it's kind of depressing reading, most people only watch about a tenth of the video or a quarter at most. Because they don't want to sit there and watch a 10-15 minute video, or in my case, maybe not so much these days, but back in the past, or 45-minute kit review, going through every sprue, and stuff like that. They don't sit there that long these days. I mean, I do. If I've clicked on a video to watch it, it's because it's something I want to watch about. I don't care if the video is 4 hours long. If it's a subject that I'm interested in and the person presenting it is interesting and knowledgeable, then I will watch. I mean, yeah, I said don't watch the end of the videos, crap. Oh yeah, I know my videos are crap, right? But unfortunately, it's just the way it is. It's not just my channel stats, it's pretty much all of them. There are people that don't even watch the whole entirety of a short, and they're at most a minute long. There are people who won't sit and watch a 15-second thick thought video. Let alone watch the entirety of a 48-hour speed build. I was talking to some younger co-workers who apparently they love motorsport. I disagree. I was saying the reason they don't watch endurance racing is because it's too long. They think a Formula One race is really long. An hour and 40 minutes. Yeah, but when a race is 4, 6, 8, 12, 24 hours, but you've got mixed class racing, there's always something happening, it stays interesting. Even if you get stuck behind a safety car, there's a lot to talk about because there's so many cars in the race that there's always something happening. Exactly, and I do watch Le Mans. Actually, last night I finished watching this year because it just happened. The Dubai 24-hour. Yeah, F1 after 5 or 6 laps, you know who's going to win, unless they break down or crash. That's endurance racing. You don't know who's going to win until they cross the finish line. It's 2022 Le Mans. The car that was set to win LMP2 literally broke down on the last lap. It did 24 hours and then went and died. Very sad, but you know. And it's multi-class, so you've got all different kind of cars and speeds going on at the same time. Everything from, I mean, not so much now because in the World Endurance they've taken the LMP2s out, so it is just hypercars and GT cars. But there's still a lot going on. I mean, you've got, well, even last year there were 19 hypercars and 20, 30 odd GT3 cars, which are all Pro-Am. And so each car has at least one amateur driver in it. Motorbikes and bicycles too. That would be a bit too much like carnage. You're trying to figure out where the heck a motorbike's going to go when you're trying to lap it. But as I tried to explain, imagine F1, but the races are 3 times longer, but you've got F2 and F3 on the track racing at the same time. I mean, you can't do that because they're different. Yeah, you can. If you make the F1 race 4 or 6 hours long, they will make the cars last 4 or 6 hours. Right? This is what they would do. Yeah, exactly. They're not made to last longer than an hour and 45 minutes without a complete rebuild. Oh, we only use 3 engines throughout the year. Yeah, no, you don't. Might be the same engine, but it gets a complete rebuild every race. Same with the gearboxes. But no, anyway. Okay. When there's a bright pink Lamborghini hurtling around a racetrack, it's cool. And the cars all look different. In hypercars, which you'd think, why pink? Because it's driven by ladies. And why not? There's a green and yellow LMP2 car. There's bright blue ones. There's one with a that's in plaid. There's a green Porsche called Rexy that is painted up like a T-Rex. There's a pink Porsche that's painted up like a T-Rex called Roxy. There's an LMP2 car that's purple and painted up like a dragon called Spike. There's a sense of humour to it. There's camaraderie and teamwork in the pit lane between teams. There's a monster. Yeah. I literally either watch. I mean, I think Indy's next weekend, which maybe not watch that because that's again 24 hours around. Not a very interesting racetrack, let's be honest. But you got 2 or 3 different classes of car going around there for 24 hours. Formula One, they do a night race. What do? They have so many lights on the circuit that it uses the infield. It's not the oval. And part of the oval, most of the oval, but basically means is the oval with 4 hairpins and a couple of slight bends thrown in for good measure. I mean, F1 races, they do the night race. It's not a night race. There's that many lights on. It's probably brighter than it is during the heat of the day. You get proper endurance night race. On the 24 hours of the Nürburgring, there ain't no lights on that track. It's hard to watch because you can't really tell what the hell car you're looking at, because all you can see is headlights and tail lights. Until it's sideways in front of a camera, which is when you know something's gone badly wrong. Usually somewhere in the foxhole or on Tiergarten. Usually where they sense a crash. Yeah, when the lights go out, they hit something. Exactly. Although there's so much electronics in the cars these days that the lights generally still work even after they crash. Might not be pointing in the right direction. I'm going to have to go for a whittle. So, because less than an hour in, I've already finished my can. I'll be back in a mo. Talk amongst yourselves. That's better. Speak to you later, Gee. Have a good one. So where were we? Grumbling about Formula One again. Actually, modelling wise, I'm going to need to get some new speckies before I even try and do any of that, because yeah, it's a bit awkward when everything's blurry that's less than a foot away. Without the glasses, anything further than that is a blur. With the glasses, anything closer than that is a blur. So like, from there I can see with the glasses, but I can't without. So it's like that kind of area where you would be building a model, everything's blurry. So yeah, need new glasses. Maybe I'll go and see if I can get an eye test set up this week. Might be something to do Tuesday morning, actually. Go to the optician and go, I need an eye test, so I need new glasses. These ones ain't doing it. It's getting older, so it's not like I can complain. I've had these ones over a decade. The last ones I had before that was, God, probably 20 years, nearly 20 years I had a previous set, so it's about time I had a new pair, even just to get them actually straight again, straight and fitting. Yeah, I've got one of them, but I find the magnification too much, even on the sort of lowest magnification setting. Maybe just getting a set of reading glasses might do it. Perhaps that's what I should do. Just grab a cheap pair of reading glasses from somewhere, that might do it. But then I'd have to keep changing glasses, and I know I'd end up with the wrong ones on at some point. I'd have the reading glasses on, and then I'd go out, go to work, and I'd go, oh crap, I can't see anything more than a foot away. Plus the specs. Oh yeah. It's our eyesight doesn't do well as we get older. It just keeps going downhill. They call it macular degeneration, I believe is the term. Come on, Ash, out you get. Clearly, Ash, we can actually get down to some tobacco. One of these Sundays, I'll remember to bring my pipe tool. Getting old, yeah. Yeah, when you hit 40, Derek, your eyesight starts going, along with a lot of other things. And I'm 49 this year, so my eyesight's really gone. It's bad enough to start with. Ironically, it's getting better, but that means my glasses are now too strong at the wrong distances. Mr. Moist Hose, how you doing, Al? Yeah, only speeds up after 60. 1 foot in the grave. Oh, what was that called? Richard Wilson. Yeah, it was called 1 Foot in the Grave, wasn't it? Basically a comedy about a grumpy old man. I don't bloody believe it. Very English comedy. Probably made it worldwide because it was huge, but I don't think it probably transferred too well to America. I think the Aussies would have probably understood it, but what was the other one? What was that one? There's the old folks' home, Waiting for God. That was it. Yeah, there's all sorts of random comedies that the Brits have created. Yeah, just borrow a good comedy idea and then ruin it. Yeah. Basically, take out all the humour and replace it with something silly. Tried watching it, it was depressing. Yeah, because the humour just doesn't translate. It's a very, very dry, very British, sarcastic kind of humour that doesn't tend to travel very well. It's a bit like guacamole, which just foul at the best of times, but after 10 minutes and it's gone brown and slimy. Oh, avocado. I hear people talking about avocado toast. It's like, what's wrong with cheese or ham on toast? Or just butter? Surely either of those is better than avocado. But avocado's healthier. Well, yeah, of course it is, because you can't bloody eat it because it's foul. Mind you, an All in the Family TV show is copied from an English show. Yeah, most, probably a lot of them were. I think we probably covered all the sitcoms in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. There's not really been anything new since. It's either been a rehash of an old idea or very similar. But then I've not watched anything since. I think probably the last new comedy I would have watched would have been somewhat League of Gentlemen, and I think that was in the late 90s or early 90s. And that's never going to be replayed. So that's fishy stuff. Anything fishy to talk about? Ah, yes, we have new super red bristlenose wrigglers. I spotted them this morning. So we should be putting them in there, along with their slightly older or 1 month old ish cousins. Yeah, got to get teeth in. Love thy neighbour. Yep. Yeah, got to get in contact with the LFS because I've got a whole bunch of bristle noses that are getting rather large. They take sort of 50 or 100 at a time, but I've probably got way more than that are ready to go. Oh, Alf Garnett, they're never replaying that one. I don't even know if In Sickness and in Health is actually available on DVD or Blu-ray. The original grumpy old man. Mind you, I'd be grumpy if I was a West Ham supporter as well. So there is that. But yeah, I just don't know how people would react to it these days. Would they see that it was poking fun at the old grumpy white man and his stereotypical views of gay black men? Or would it just be, oh, he said this, you can't say that anymore? Lots of words I'm not going to say because I know I'll get in trouble for them. Actually, there's another one. The song by the Specials came on the radio this week at work. Free Nelson Mandela. I had to explain to some of my younger colleagues who Nelson Mandela was and why there was a song entitled Free Nelson Mandela. I was like, seriously, they don't teach you that at school? Really? And Karens would have a fit. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It would be middle class white people who get upset by it. Usually the case. Any of those shows from the late 70s, early 80s. There was the one, I can never remember what it's called, Windsor Davies in the army in India. Some Like It Hot, that was it. Mandela was a terrorist. Well, according to the rich white people in charge, he was. Him and Desmond Tutu. Not the vicar in a tutu, back to the Smith songs. We didn't really do loud ones. Ours were generally fairly subtle and dry. Oh, what was that one in the department store? Oh, God, with John Inman. I'm free. And, what's her name? The character was Mrs. Slocum. And she was always talking about her pussy, as in her cat, but the joke was, are you being served? That was it. If you can find a rerun of Are You Being Served anywhere, that was sort of tea time Saturday TV. Some of the jokes in that are so risque, it's unreal. Oh yeah, the loud critics, yes. Oh, we're both showing our age, Mark. I'm also showing the fact that my memory's going. I'm free. Because he was the gay men's clothing retail assistant. And Mrs. Slocum was one of the women's clothing assistants. It was funny. It still is funny. Hello, hello. One of the best comedies ever written. And it's written from the standpoint of the French in World War II taking the mickey out of the Brits and the Germans, and it was written by Brits, and all the actors were Brits. Yeah, the Italians didn't come out of it very well either. Captain Bertolini. Heil Mussolini. Glob. They were. At least you could tell who the gay one was. Mind you, they were always played by either John Inman or Kenneth, not Branagh. One from the Carry On films. There's another one, the Carry On films. I mean, people just forget how edgy the Carry On movies were. I mean, I remember coming home from work one day at sort of mid-afternoon, turning on the TV, and this isn't that long ago. One forward, two in reverse. Yeah, there's the joke. Thing is, the Italians had the best navy in World War II of the Axis powers. They just didn't have the fuel to run it. Where was I? Yes. Yeah, the Carry On movies. The one Carry On Dick, about Dick Turpin. Yeah, and they called it Carry On Dick. Was on TV, and I came home from work. This isn't that many years ago, maybe 10 years ago. If that, might be less. Came home from work, stuck the TV on, channel surfed. Oh, it's a Carry On movie. That would do while I'm just chilling and having something to eat. 5 minutes later, there's Barbara Windsor's boobs on screen. Bare. What? How did they not notice that? Did they play the wrong version of the film? Did they play the version which should have been censored but didn't? And I wasn't complaining. Yeah, the Italian tanks were particularly bad. But then they didn't really have a tank-based army, because if the Italians were going to go to war with the country, it would be in the north of the country, which frankly isn't really tank friendly. Lots of mountains and narrow passes and very rocky. So they didn't really worry about it. I mean, their planes were pretty damn good. Despite what people say, their army fought bloody hard. It was just the upper management, as it were, bloody awful. And the Navy had some really good admirals once they got rid of the ones that they had at the start of the war, who were just there because of who they knew rather than what they knew. But yeah, they just never had the fuel for the battleships and the heavy cruisers. Otherwise, they would have caused the Mediterranean fleet a lot more problems. And it caused plenty of problems as it is, right up until Matapan. And the Battle of Cape Matapan is, yes, I know thousands of people died. But it's when 35,000-ton battleships use stealth. When something that's several hundred feet long weighs 35,000 tons, belches smoke like you wouldn't believe, and manages to sneak up on you, not just one, but several. being promoted for who you knew, worked for the British for hundreds of years. It did, but we did also make sure that the people underneath those people actually knew what they were doing. And generally, the people at the real top understood that the people beneath them knew what they were doing and listened. Although, with the exception of, I just think of one that really stands out, Percy Hobart, the guy who invented the Blitzkrieg tank strategies, the guy who all his published papers on tank warfare had been translated to German, and the likes of Goering were carrying them around with them. And then he basically had a moment of, well, I taught you everything you know, but I didn't teach you everything I know. Yeah, Cardigan and Raglan, yeah, exactly. And you look at some of the quotes from in the way back as well, like Waterloo. Was it? Which lord was it? Was it Suffolk, Norfolk? Might have been Cambridgeshire, Sussex. I can't remember. But got his legs shot off with a cannonball. He's on a horseback, got his leg blown off with a cannonball. Turns to the man next to him, the Duke of Wellington, says, "By God, sir, my leg appears to have gone." Wellington turns back, looks at him, and goes, "By God, sir, so it has." That kind of level of there's normal, then there's manly and then there's alpha, sigma, then there's people like that are just. Admiral Beatty at Jutland said, "There seems to be something wrong with our ships today. They keep exploding." Well, yeah, the problem was you. But yeah, it is but a flesh wound. And that's where this quotes like that is where the Black Knight character came from. People who got bits of them blown off and just carried on like nothing had happened. And it was World War One. I say fighter pilot. They weren't fighters back then, were they? Got set upon by several German planes. Gunner managed to chase them off. And it wasn't until they got back and landed that he let on that it had his leg blown off and had to throw it out of the cockpit so he could still operate the plane. And made sure he filed his report before he reported to the sick bay. Like, what? And then obviously there's Douglas Bader. Yeah. The renowned World War II fighter ace. Who outperformed basically all of the rest of them in things like Spitfires, who had tin legs, had prosthetic legs. And he could turn sharper, harder, faster than anyone else, and it took a long while for him to realise why. Because he didn't have any legs. The G-force didn't affect him as much. Rightio, Derek Abergen, good to see you. I got my laundry done yesterday. Make sure it's dry in time for going back to work on Wednesday. Will do, you two. Don't work too hard. They won't pay you anymore. Yeah. Good to see you two. Don't be a stranger. You're here. I'm going to point my pipe at you. Yeah, that was particularly nice of the Germans when he got captured. They they, they let a plane fly over, drop spare legs into the concentration camp for him, and then on the way back, the plane did did a bit of bombing on the way home, but that's never. Yeah, we'll we'll gloss that bit over. Was it a mozzie? Was that a mosquito they did that with? It just did a bit of low-level bombing on the way back home. Uh, Probably a good job we never really got the sea mosquito up and running. Could you imagine the carnage that would have caused in, by that time, the Japanese Navy? Squadrons of mosquitoes coming in at ridiculous speeds and heights with torpedoes. Oh dear. And there's no way the Zero would have caught a mozzie in straight flight. Not at all. And they didn't get anywhere near the sea fires either, to be honest. The mozzie was faster than the sea fire. It had twice the engines and wasn't a lot heavier. That would have been interesting to see. I think it was big enough to carry 2 torpedoes as well, which is kind of scary thought. A torpedo bomber that drops 2 torpedoes at a time. Yeah. Roosevelt would have been giving Churchill a call. Yeah, can we have some of them, please? Yeah. Yeah. The Germans tried to copy it, but by the time they got round to it, it was too late. Because they couldn't believe that a plane made out of wood was that good. They were using more and more metal because more metal is more better. Well, yeah, it's more resistant to bullets and shells. Much like if you think about it, the mosquito was the precursor of the blackbird and the U-2. So you don't need to have to worry about getting shot if you can't get shot at because you're that much faster than everything else. Yeah, I ain't got to worry. They can't keep up with me. They ain't going to hit me. Also, didn't have Barter escape from, was it 2 or 3 concentration camps before they finally put him in Colditz? And don't get me started on Mad Jack Churchill because, yeah. World War II using a sword and a bow and arrow. It was a bit more substantial than the swordfish. There was a bit more actual plane to hit. But, the swordfish did as well. Taranto, Bismarck. And the only reason Bismarck got caught was because the swordfish managed to torpedo it after they accidentally torpedoed Sussex. And that's when they realised that the new detonators in the torpedoes didn't work after they went clank, clank off of the cruiser or exploded randomly in the water. So they flew back to the aircraft carrier, Ark Royal, I believe. And on the way back, the ground crew, it's not a ground crew on an aircraft carrier, is it? But yeah, the armourers were busy changing over all the fuses on the torpedoes, the ones that actually worked. Yeah, Yeah, Taranto gave the Japanese the idea for Pearl Harbor. Yeah. So, oh, you can attack a fleet at anchor in a shallow harbor. Right. Yeah, sorry, America. We gave them that idea. Because, but we'd have won the war anyway because we had something nobody else did. Didn't need nuclear bombs. Didn't need carrier task groups. We had HMS Warspite. The machine spirit of HMS Warspite. I know it's a Warhammer 40k reference. But you know, when you're taking a battleship to be to the salvagers to be scrapped, and it grounds itself on a beach in Cornwall because it just doesn't want to be scrapped. When it gets hit by every kind of weapon that anyone used in that war, and just keeps trucking. Yeah. I mean, if there was one ship they should have saved as a museum ship, it was Warspite, but they didn't because money. It would have cost a fortune to put it back into some kind of semblance of being in one piece. I mean, you know, there aren't many pieces of military hardware that went through 2 world wars and came out the other end, involved in the biggest naval battle of all time, destroying half the German destroyer fleet in one battle, recording the longest range ever artillery hit on another battleship. The problem is we've given one of our new nuclear submarines that same name. So there is at the moment a nuclear submarine armed with intercontinental ballistic missiles with the name HMS Warspite. I don't know if that should fill us with dread or the rest of the world, to be honest, because that pops up off your coast, you're like, oh. All the historians start running for cover. There's a British submarine off the coast, sir. Which one is it? It's transmitting HMS Warspite. Run! Save yourselves. Evacuate. It's either going to blow the hell out of us or crash into something. Yeah, forget the Lamborghini Countach, or Countach, or however you want to pronounce it. Countach. I don't know. I don't think even the Italians knew how to pronounce it. Boys should have had posters of HMS Warspite on their wall, right next to the Athena girl, tennis girl scratching her butt. Need more drinky booze. Oh, I think I'm probably going to call it a bit short again today because I need something to eat. So yes, for a fishy stream, again, we have managed to not talk about fish. But given the way my stomach is growling, given the speed with which I went through that, I'd say my body is screaming out for food. Yeah, steel fish. Yes. Yeah, fishy, fishy, fishy. Not the kind of fish you want hitting the side of your boat, though, let's be honest. Yeah, as I say, with that, I think I will call it for this week, because I are starving. And I forgot to eat anything again today, I know. How I do it, I don't know. But I do. I regularly forget to eat, and then it'll get to like this time of night, and I'm like, why am I so hungry? Oh, yeah. Anyway, thank you for everyone for showing up and being here and hopefully enjoying a bit of weirdness and carnage. Stay safe. Have fun. Peace out. Rock on. Bye bye. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Mondays suck do 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 do. Mondays suck do 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 do. Mondays suck do 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 do.